Hello everyone, Ellie here, and I would like to talk about some ideas about how humanity can help each other thrive. As we've spoken about in the past, we've gone over what universal basic income is and who has supported it. Today, we're going to go over the pros and cons of universal basic income. This is Tech-Ciety. First off, let's take a look at the pros and cons and go over them. Workers could afford to wait for a better job or better wages. Could you be stuck in a job that doesn't allow you to grow as a person, grow your career, or grow your take-home pay? UBI helps take off that stress by giving you that freedom to choose without as much risk. People would have the freedom to return to school or stay home to care for a relative. Maybe you want to learn a new skill, or you have someone at home that you want to take care of, but you still need money to survive. Would a UBI help you do that? The poverty trap would be removed from traditional welfare programs. If you have been on unemployment or welfare, you know how difficult it can be to be on those programs. First off, they might act more like police and treat you like a criminal. They make sure you're trying to be a good citizen by continuously applying for jobs and trying to get out of your position. And if you don't, they won't pay you. And let's say you made a little bit of money, maybe from a gig you got. If you earn too much, they won't pay you, or pay you a fraction of what you might get. When it comes to welfare, the government basically decides for you what to spend and how much to spend. For instance, while the average cost of groceries for a person is $250 a month, SNAP, or food stamps on average, pay $130. Kylo Friend has a great thread on her experience on the welfare system actually being a trap, which I'll link below. Citizens could have simple, straightforward financial assistance that minimize bureaucracy. The government would spend less to administer the programs than with traditional welfare. As just discussed, welfare and unemployment programs try to determine your eligibility on a multitude of factors. And using means testing methods means that more people are involved with the decisions on helping you or preventing you from getting help, which requires not only getting people to make those decisions that could be life-altering, but also delay the arrival of funds you might need now rather than later. Payments would help young couples start families in countries with low birth rates. If you're a young family that either has or wants to have children, but money is a problem, UBI helps not only with paying for food and expenses, it also helps you spend more time with your child. You wouldn't have to rush to drop them off with possibly a stranger to go to work to pay for living expenses and that babysitter. The payments could help stabilize the economy during recessionary periods. What trickle-down economics from the Reagan era has shown is that businesses don't just redistribute wealth. There'll be a catch for them to do so. They might pay their workers the absolute minimum wage allowed, or make donations that will be tax deductible for them. Remember, the entire purpose of a business is to make money for themselves and their shareholders. Does it seem like this really helps people that really need it? However, if you put money into the hands of people, what people have shown to do is spend that money in places that help themselves. That might be in the form of the local mechanic for car repairs that they've been putting off, healthier food options that they might get from their local grocery store, or maybe even a local school that helps them learn a new skill. These are a few general examples of ways UBI has been spent by people who have received it. Wouldn't these help small businesses grow instead of constantly being put down by much bigger organizations? Inflation could be triggered because of the increase in demand for goods and services. There won't be an increased standard of living in the long run because of inflated prices. This popular argument that prices will skyrocket from everyone who gets more money suggests that all businesses will collectively enforce this at the same time. Besides the fact that price gouging is unethical, in places where a basic income has been tried, inflation has actually decreased, such as Alaska and Kuwait. Landlords also worry about a multitude of factors, such as good tenants who will have funds to pay on time and empty apartments. There are 5 times more empty houses than homeless people in America. If they were to increase rent, that ratio would increase. If 5 businesses raised their price at the same time, and one did not, would you rather shop at the place that raised their prices or shop at the business that did not? A reduced program with smaller payments won't make a real difference in poverty-stricken families. Free income may disincentivize people to get jobs and make work seem optional. Let's say you were making $20,000 and being within the income threshold to receive $12,000 in benefits a year. Now let's say you were offered a better job to be making $25,000, which barely pushes you out of the welfare programs. You might be in a better job, but now you're losing out on $7,000. How likely would you accept the job? That's the current mindset of people stuck in the welfare trap. Now let's suppose you were making $20,000 and get a UBI of $12,000 a year. If you were now offered that $25,000 job, you would still be making that $12,000 extra. Would you say this doesn't make a difference or disincentivizes you from working? Free income could perpetuate the falling labor force participation rate. If a universal basic income was implemented and you were getting $1,000 a month, would you quit your job and live off that? What if you were in an abusive job? Would it be better for you to be in that job or find a better one? Perhaps you're a student or a new parent. Is it more worthwhile to spend time with your studies or child, or would it be more advantageous to go to work? I guess a more concentrated question for parents would be, is it better to remember the days you spent at work or witnessing your child first time speaking, walking, etc.? It would be difficult, especially in the US, to get legislation passed because of stiff opposition to handouts for the unemployed. You may have heard the saying, give a man a fish and you feed him for a day. Teach a man to fish and you feed him for life. I feel a lot of people forget that we've had forms of handouts since birth. Parents bring up their children by giving them things like food, shelter, and maybe even an allowance. Maybe you're thinking, well, they can't fend for themselves, so it's only natural. Would you argue that domesticated pets are different from homeless or wild animals? If you adopt an animal from a shelter, how much of a difference does it make to that animal? Is it a bad thing to help those in need? Maybe you don't believe in reciprocity, but I like to believe that it benefits everyone on the whole. Sure, there will be some that will take advantage, but if the majority will benefit, does it really matter what a few select will do? There might be those that believe that people should be told what to do with their lives and how to spend their money. But do you think it's right? How would you react if a random person came up to you and offered their advice on how to grocery shop? Would you take it willingly, or do you think you know how best to address your needs? There are a lot of factors involved when it comes to those personal decisions, right? The point is, no one knows better than you on what you should be doing with your money. Poverty isn't a lack of character. It's a lack of cash. With universal basic income, people will spend it on what they need, and who is anyone to decide what that is for another person? My mom always used to tell me, how are you going to know if you like it if you don't try it? Well, if the stimulus package has told me anything, is that I like it. And if it comes to me every month without hurting others, can it really be a bad thing? Well, I hope that helps inform you on universal basic income. Feel free to check out my upcoming videos where I discuss more ideas that'll help people thrive. So until next time, take this information and make wise moves.